Hello and welcome to the What's Your Story podcast. I'm Missy Day.
And I am Michelle Housebeck.
And we're excited today. We have a special guest who's a special friend of mine. And I know that she's a lot of friends here in Vegas. So please welcome to our show today, Kat Eversole.
Yay.
Hi, Kat.
Hi, ladies. It's so great to see you and be with you.
Thank you for coming on today.
I'm excited to be here, Missy. Thank you so much, Michelle. It's great to see you again as well.
Good to see you.
So the last time you were here, it was this year, right? When you were on, I think it was this year.
I think it was really one of the first podcasts this year, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And so we sat here and visited and talked about where you were at in your life. And so I'm very excited that you're on today because we would like for you to share all the exciting things that is happening in Kat's life and the direction that you're headed in.
I am amazed about what has really happened these last 6-7 months. I just have a quick question. What does caregiving, cancer, and catfishing have to do with Kat Eversole's life?
I bet you can answer that.
Why don't we just get started there? And I'm not going to go into all of it today. That's a little teaser for a few events that are coming up that I know you're going to be sharing. But I have to tell you that, and I am not trying to in any way, shape, or form say that I'm something special, because I don't think I am. I'm a woman in this world doing her absolute best to do her absolute best. And what I have been doing, and I'll try my hardest not to shed a tear, is I've been doing the work. I have been doing the work. You know, Missy, firsthand, because you are my business coach.
Yeah, you've been doing it all.
The things that have come my way and fallen in my lap, my purview, my space, my aura, you name it. I am, I feel like I'm a ninja warrior trying to just get this handled. And I am on one hand, I'm so proud of myself for the road that I have traveled in 2023. And actually before that, because what I shared before when I was here on the podcast is that I was a caregiver, a full-time caregiver for my mom and my dad. My father transitioned in 2017 from Parkinson's, a very ugly and cruel disease. And my mother passed away a little over a year ago now from dementia and Alzheimer's. And I had the privilege and honor of caregiving for them in our home. So the day that they passed away, I was able to lay down beside them and usher them to a different realm. And that changed my world. That's the caregiving part. And once I've had that kind of perspective, I thought my world had changed until 2023, when it went a little bit deeper. So I don't know how far you want me to go into this, but what people will notice is that my name is Kat Eversole. I've changed my name back from my married name, and I am a single lady living her La Vida Loca, and it's really not even that exciting. So don't, I'm trying to make it more exciting, but it's not that exciting. But again, just a woman doing her best to do her best. And 2023 has definitely brought some changes. So do you want me to share a little bit about the exciting news about the
well, hold on
women's?
Just 1 second before you jump in there. So, so to give our viewers and Michelle some little background about Kat. So for how long? To 9 years you did Defining Women here, right?
9 years. 2007 to 2016.
So I stumbled into one of her events after I started my business. And I was just captivated by Kat and just the way she spoke. And then the people that were attending the events was like next level kind of a thing, different from other networking events I'd been attending. So I just was all in, 100% all in. And I loved the luncheons and I loved her. And she always had awesome speakers. And some of like aha moments that I had is so she would do a hot seat at her networking events. And so I was in the hot seat one time and just was blown away by the information that was given to me. And I was taking care of my mom at the time. So then we were at, Maggiano's at one of our lunches, and Kat's up there and she's like blowing us all away. And then she says, by the way, this is the last luncheon. And we were all like, what? What did she say?
Wait.
And we were all traumatized by it, really, because it just came out of nowhere. And so she like stepped back and out and then moved. And so then we got reacquainted actually when my mom passed, and she came to buy a piece of my mom's furniture. And she kind of walked me through like what to expect, with grief and everything. And so then she became a client, and we have became more close as friends, I would say, through that process. Mm-hmm. And so going through the process with her has been like a freaking roller coaster. Because we've been all over the place.
The ride isn't even close to being over with. I can confirm. It's not even close to being over with. And it's exciting and exhilarating and crazy and oh my gosh, exciting and I don't know, a little exhausting all at the same time. But I'm willing.
Yes, to go wherever. And that's the biggest piece of like, when you want to reinvent yourself, you have to be open to receive and just go where that is. Mm-hmm. So share with our viewers a little bit how you got to the place where you're at now with your big event that's coming up.
Okay. So just a scooch backwards, just a little bit, a rewind. When I started working with Missy at the beginning of this year, there was no doubt, and I had a real passion in my heart, and I still do, and I forever will, a real passion in my heart to support caregivers. The 8 years of caregiving that I participated in for my parents really had me look at the world a little bit differently, a different perspective. And the caregiver's journey is not an easy one. And depending on where you actually step into it, I believe we all need support. You will need support if you are going to be a caregiver. And there's some great quote by Rosalind Carter about there's 4 different kinds of people, and they all involve some type of caregiving, where you're giving the care or you're a caregiver yourself or whatever the case may be. But the point is that will forever be a passion project of mine. I run a support group here in my local town of Cedar City. Tomorrow, I'm participating in a beautiful memorial, a bereavement memorial, where we're releasing 2,000 butterflies in honor of those who we love, who have passed on and transitioned. And I'll continue to be in that arena and speaking to as many groups as I possibly can, and creating perhaps more support groups in different cities and towns for caregivers. So what Missy didn't say, and what a lot of people knew maybe from the last one, is that I have a business called Twigs and Posies, where I refinish furniture, do thrift flips. I sell furniture embellishments and paint and all that. And what happened at the beginning of August, and I manifested this 100%, I was able to close my brick and mortar store and move to a local craft mall where I have my paints and embellishments, those things that we really best monetized. So I did that. And magically, August 1st, when that happened, and I was able to shut everything down by August 12th, I was listening to a podcast. And on this podcast, close the doors to Twigs and Posies, brick and mortar, August 12th. I'm going up to I have a family cabin up here near where I live, and it needs some work done on it. So, and a lot of you have seen my posts. I've been doing some staining up there, and thank you, Lord, came home today just about complete. And I was listening to a podcast. I'm listening to the podcast. I'm going up the mountain to about 9,900 feet. And as I'm getting closer to the peak, the questions are coming. The podcast is all about finding your life purpose and what really lights you up and what legacy do you really want to leave. And as I'm getting higher and higher to the peak of this mountain, and then I come down the other side to get to my cabin, the question comes, if you were dying in 3 months or 6 months, you put a timeline on it, what wisdom would you want to impart? And I thought to myself, well, first of all, I started crying.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a process, right, ladies? I started crying. I knew what I knew is that I wanted to make sure that every woman at any age that I come across in my life knows that she is enough, that she is worth it, and that she has something to offer and a community to belong to. And I thought, how in the world could I possibly be going backwards and starting defining women all over again? How could this be? But I honestly felt at that moment, at the peak of 9,900 feet, that this was really the truth that was coming at me. Now, true to form, I'm sure this has happened to you too. As I start down the mountain, all the doubts come. Oh, that's going backwards. I'm crying. I'm like having a spiritual event in my vehicle. And I'm heading down the mountain. It's like, oh, who's going to want to do Defining Women again? And that's old news. Been there, done that. Nobody wants this, blah, 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 blah. But I knew that I had to do something with this. Now, I was afraid to tell my business coach, Missy Day, that this was because I have been the roller coaster with her since January. And I was so afraid to tell her. And we had one call scheduled in August. And we got on the call, and I'm like, oh, no. Oh, dear. Oh, Missy. Oh. And then Missy Day told me something. What did you tell me, Missy?
I did, because there was still a part of me that was still a little tiffed that she gave up defining women. So I was, the day before we had our call, I was like, so I like had this like dream thing about that she was going to do defining women.
What?
And that was like, and that she was needed to do it again. 'Cause that was her true calling. So we're on this coaching call, and she's like afraid to tell, don't be mad and everything. And she starts, and I'm trying to control myself because I just want to blurt out, oh my God, that's it. But I let her finish, and then I'm sitting there, biting my tongue off. And then so I told her what happened the day before, that I had this thought about her starting defining women again. And so it was just crazy. It was like meant to be, like,
yeah.
And so, God gives you those things of when you hear it more than once, that's it.
Yep.
Truly, truly. And I want to share the second question that was asked on that podcast. And when I was pulling myself together, the second question was, what excites you and scares you to death all at the same time? And I thought to myself, wow, those 9 years with Defining Women, I thought I was revealing myself. I thought I was 100% authentically myself. But I'm here to tell you, after the last, since 2016, I am a different woman. I now understand the full experience of defining yourself and redefining yourself. I've gone from being a business owner with Defining Women to a caregiver, to a furniture artist, to a business owner of a beautiful boutique store in Cedar City, to a leader in the community as far as caregivers goes with my company, Compassionate Caregiving, for you and your loved one. And now I'm actually revisiting Defining Women, and I am surrendering to the process 100%. I am going to see, and the women who are so excited, who are messaging me and they want to know what's going on. And I said, my darling, I love you. I cannot wait to see you. Let's see where this takes us all.
Ugh.
And I am very excited about this new chapter.
Yeah.
I bet you can't tell.
I am excited, and I never went to Defining Women, which is nuts to me because I was networking. I don't know why I never ran across that one, but I'm excited to go now and be part of this.
Yes, me too. And so I
great,
have to
Michelle.
say,
Can't wait
when
to
you're
have you.
coming down the mountain and you're like, oh, who's gonna come or whatever. And then I looked at your response list and I'm like, girlfriend, like, the interested and the going is already. And I was like, ooh, you might be going over your 45 limit.
Yes. I feel like we're going to, and I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see what the ladies want to do with this. I'm excited to share my story. What does caregiving, cancer, and catfishing have in common? There's a lot of life that I have lived, and I know that just like you, Missy, just like you, Michelle, the women that are going to come together that day have lived a lot of life since 2016.
Oh yeah,
And we
sure.
all have some stories to tell. It is going to be a grand reunion, and it's my hope and prayer we're going to have lots of newbies as well, but a lot of OGs. And we're going to have a great day, and we are going to discover for ourselves where this journey is going to take us. And I am so excited about it.
I'm so
And
excited too.
Yeah, I'm excited that that I have surrendered to the process of defining myself. And I have several gurus that I meet with in my life, Missy being one of them. And I want to make sure that as this journey continues, I honor them with the way that they have. Missy, you have. I feel like Dorothy in the Yellow Brick Road, although I think we're going to have a different ending. But maybe not. Maybe there is no place like home.
Am I
right?
the wicked witch in this scenario? Where are we going with the
No.
Wizard
You're
of Oz?
Glenda.
I would say you're more like Galinda. You're definitely Galinda. For
Yes,
sure.
you are.
But definitely in that story, if I were to relate to Dorothy, I would say that the Wicked Witch of the West had a lot to teach us as well. So there's so much, and only so much we can say here on this podcast or share because of our time constraints. But I could talk for hours, as well as hear from other women for hours on the journey that each one of us have gone through these past years. And I can't wait to put us all together and see where we've all landed.
Oh, I think the energy is going to be crazy, amazing. People excited to come back and regroup, and then everybody's so different since, like you said, 2016's, well, just 2020 alone, so many people's lives changed in a year. So tell us what, because you're going to be a speaker at What's Your Story this year, and we're thrilled to have
Very
you.
excited
Yes.
and honored. Thank you. So
So-
honored to be part of this.
So what is the message that you want the people that are going to be attending What's Your Story to get from you?
I think the main thing that I would love to impart with my talk on that particular day is that it's okay to define yourself and then redefine yourself and then take another peek and another look. I think it is so important for us to really get curious about who we actually are in life. There's so much I have learned after my caregiving journey that I learned about caregiving. I've learned so much about why I react, and I use that word deliberately, react versus respond, the way that I do. I know that in today's world, it's no different from when I was running Defining Women years ago. People like to put a lot of labels on other people. And I want to caution that. I want people to get curious about others But more than anything, I want people, us as human beings, to get curious about ourselves. Why do we do what we do? And is is the way that we do those things serving us best? Because I have had to get rid of a lot of things that I thought were perfectly suited to me that were not. And that's why I can honestly say at this point in my life, and I know it's not finished, that I am doing my best to do my best to be the authentic me. Take it or leave her. And I don't say that in a mean way because
Yep.
I want people to like me, but I'm also okay with being disliked.
Right.
That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We all have an opportunity to get curious about ourselves first. And that gives us a greater understanding, at least in my experience, of how we can have the best interpersonal relationships with others.
I agree 100%.
Me too. Concur.
Yeah. And I think,
Thank you.
Michelle and I have had conversations as well as you and I have that, our life is constantly changing and we don't really have to explain things sometimes, what we're doing. It's like a response you received about doing Defining Women. I received that same message about, when I decided like-minded lunch was, too much to do it every month. And then I had the idea of going quarterly. And then someone said, you never, ever do that in your business because then people get confused. Like, well, you gave it up and now you're doing it again. So what's wrong with you kind of a thing. And I think that, when you're trying to become your best self, that sometimes, I guess what I'm trying to say, kind of roundabout, long-winded way, is I think you're going to be a really big inspiration to women who have left behind what their heart wants or what they're truly supposed to be doing, thinking that I'm going to listen to everybody and I'm going to go off in this direction and leave this behind. And then when you realize, is this really what I'm supposed to be doing? Because I really think I was supposed to keep doing that or come back and do it better. And I think you're going to be a huge inspiration for a lot of women that have left what their heart wants and know that it's okay to go back.
Thank you. I appreciate that, Missy, because I can see that too. When we take a moment and we reflect, take a breath, and we reflect on who we say we really want to be, or who we say we want to show up as, or what legacy we want to leave. When we're able to get curious about that and examine that, I got to tell you, you might be the only one on that road. We might be this might be a completely new thing. And to your point, breaking paradigms is okay.
Yeah.
Breaking a paradigm is okay. Many of us were raised with the idea that you're supposed to do this and then get to do this and get the degree or get the good job and then retire and then you live on your pension, blah, 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 blah. I'm on the other side of all of that. I cared for two people who did that their whole life. And I'm not saying that they lived terrible lives. They didn't. But they did exactly what they were supposed to do. And as far as Cat Eversole goes, and some of my cronies like the Missies and the Michelles of the world, we are breaking paradigms and we are giving others permission to do the same in a loving, kind, humanitarian way. We get to forge new paths, new roads, new places to go, things that our hearts would never have dreamt of before until we came to a point where we could give ourselves permission to actually go and do it.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be climbing Mount Everest. It could simply be taking a hike in the Red Rock Mountains. It could be something so small. It could be making a phone call you've wanted to make for 10 years. It could be the smallest thing or the biggest thing, whatever you define it to be. It's time to break paradigms and really unravel what we have been taught and told life is supposed to look like. because we don't have much more of it. Trust me, I've been in the business of watching people go to the other side. And let me tell you, when they're gone, they're gone. And you will be gone too. So we got this one life. It's time to live it. Break it. Break the paradigms. Make the shifts. Do whatever. Even if you're the first one to do it, it's time to get out there and do it and define yourself the way you really want to authentically live. And trust me, all the things that we quote unquote worry about, they'll follow. It'll happen. But we get to get on our own pioneering path and make it work.
Amen, sister.
Amen. You tell it.
Do you feel comfortable sharing with like your messaging that you've been receiving for this year?
Oh, sure. So my long story short, my word for the year is change. And there's been a lot of it. But I've also, it's like, what's my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing, God? You know, what's your will? Because I know something's changing, right? I got loud and clear, I don't know now, like a month ago. Be still and be present.
Wow.
I mean, over and over again from different places. It's the message. I've been journaling about it. And now I'm starting to understand why that message has been given to me. Because I need to change and be okay with who I am and where I'm at with myself, with God and myself, before I can move forward and be effective in his will for my life. I got to get me straightened out. Like, understand myself, understand who I am with God, and be still and appreciate what I do have. You know, I'm one of those, like, you know, I'm a go-getter, set goals, like, let's go. What's next? But then what's it for if you're not enjoying what
Right.
you have achieved? So I'm
That's
still
beautiful,
changing.
Michelle. Beautiful.
I'm
That is
being still and I'm being
beautiful.
present.
That's beautiful. I love that. Doesn't it feel great that something so simple can shift you so quickly and put you in the present
Forwards.
just like that? Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I cannot wait to give you a squeeze when I see you, Michelle, on that one. That's awesome.
I can't wait either. I was going to say one last quick thing that as you were talking, which I am super excited even more now to go to Defining Women. You know, we're taught to live a certain way and by certain rules and right, our life's supposed to look like this. Well, life never plays by those rules, right? Like I know all three of us had this idea probably that did not happen.
Right.
It's a roller coaster. It veers left or right. Life doesn't play by rules, and I don't think we need to either.
I like that.
Love it. No, we don't. We need like a
Right.
big a shirt that says rules and then a big X through it.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Making our own way. And it's like a Coco Pelli, honestly. You know, that image comes to my brain where play your flute. Play your flute. See who you're gonna be able to give permission to do the same thing.
Right.
Right.
And I feel like if in answer to that question, if I was going to die in 3 to 6 months, if I could just impart that wisdom, I would die so happy. And
I
I'm
agree.
gonna.
I was just gonna say you're doing it right now.
Yeah. So tell everybody how they can, give the dates and where and how they can join us at Defining Women this month.
Okay, great. Defining Women, we are having a Defining Women Redefined luncheon on Thursday, this September 28th. 11:30 to 1:30. I do live in a different time zone. So for all of my Vegas ladies who are interested in coming, just know it's 11:30 to 1:30, just like we always had our luncheons. And it's going to be at the beautiful Laurie's, the Prime Rib restaurant on Howard Hughes Parkway. The information is on Facebook. You can find me on Facebook, Cat Eversole or Cat A Eversole on Instagram. you certainly could reach out to me. Mostly everybody that I know knows how to find me on social media, and that's the best place right now. I haven't actually created my Defining Women website yet and relaunched all of that branding. That will be something I'll work on prior to our luncheon. But I would just invite all of the OGs and the newbies, and I am over the moon to see everyone. Was another fabulous thing. It's my birthday week. I'll be 64 years old on September 26th. I started Defining Women in 2007 when I was 47 years old.
Wow.
Talk about living a lot of life.
Yeah.
And
No
I
kidding.
love numbers. And 6 and 4 equal 10, which means new beginnings. And I'm very excited about that. So come join us. Reach out to me on social media. The beautiful Missy Day and Michelle are our sponsors that day. We're going to have some gorgeous goodie bags from What's Your Story. And I'm excited about that. Thank you so much, ladies, for jumping in on that. And we're going to have a great time and a beautiful, sweet, amazing reunion. And I'll have some tissues.
And I'm
And
especially
you'll get-
super excited because since you're going to be in town, you get to come to my birthday
Yes.
party that night.
Yay.
I know. I mean, that's so
Yay.
exciting. It's so wonderful to be celebrating. This is just so exciting. It's like a different
Vibe.
I just feel like, and I think you ladies feel it too. We are in such a different vibe right now. And it is it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And I can say it's beautiful because I'm surrendering to it. I'm in the flow. I know you two are in the flow as well. You have a great event coming up. And I love being in the flow with you.
Well, we love you so much, and thank you for joining us today. And so thank you for joining us, everybody, and we'll see you again next month for our What's Your Story podcast.